Oh no. Oh no.
See, this is why.
Don't do it.
This is
Don't
why.
do it, Ghost.
This is why. Can't, nope. See? Now you're a table.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, BBs. It's too early.
Sure is.
Welcome to the first, best, and only morning show in existence. I'm Anthony Carboni.
And I'm Saige. And Anthony?
Yeah.
We have to talk about you when you were a baby.
Oh, when I was a baby.
Yeah, when you were a baby, do you remember?
Do I remember?
Do you remember when like you looked like a little guy? Do you remember that?
That's me?
That's you when you were a baby.
That's me when I was a baby?
Yeah. That's you. Do you remember it?
Oh, yeah. What am I doing? What am I doing?
Yeah?
Why am I doing that? I was just a little guy.
You're just a little guy.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that.
Now, there's going to be a small portion of our audience before we get further into this that are like, what the fuck is happening? And it's people who are not on TikTok, and that's okay.
It's okay.
Because we're here to be your millennial bridge to TikTok.
That's right. So that video, that original video that we just showed you was posted on TikTok, has 13.2 million views. But the real thing that made this a big deal on TikTok was this video.
This video of you when you were a baby. Look how little you were. Do you remember that? You do? What were you doing?
I don't know. I was dancing. With a green hat like.
So that got a ton of views.
So now there's just a bunch of people taking their babies and showing them this video and doing this. Now, if you remember a while back, this was like a popular thing to do on like late night TV shows where they were like, everybody give your kid an avocado for Christmas and see what happens.
Right.
But this one's worse. No, like it's better for us.
Right.
But Anthony.
This is a thing. Okay. Are you about to talk about the implanting of fake memories into children?
Yeah.
Here's the problem with children. Everything implants a fake memory into children.
I know, and like, don't get me wrong, I love this fake memory.
Yeah.
I love what we're doing to the next generation of children.
Yeah.
However, imagine if you will, okay? Fuck Candle Cove, right?
Mm-hmm.
In 15,
Hi, Chris. Fuck Candle
20
Cove.
years. I say this as someone who loves that shit, by the way. In like 15, 20 years, though, a bunch of people being like, I don't know, I have this weird memory.
Yeah.
Or like the song plays somewhere.
Right.
Because it's a real song.
And everybody goes, do you all have this what am I trying to remember? But I remember, like, was there a thing when you were a kid where you had to wear a green hat? And like we all had to wear a green hat. What was that?
And here's the thing, TikTok will be long fucking gone by then.
Gone. Perhaps most of human society. These will be children now who are the only strong humans left who have to support us in the wastelands.
And then I picture someone my mother's age. Mm-hmm. Okay? Me going, hey, what do I have this, like, what is this about?
Yeah.
It's like how we're all remembering the racist play that we had to do in kindergarten, but it's gonna be this, and I'm gonna be like, hey, what is that? And she's just gonna have to be like.
But, okay, but in the meantime, here's the thing. It's good.
It's so good.
Do you remember?
That's you when you were a baby.
Do you remember?
Why were you doing that?
Before it got popular, there was that one that blew up too, where it was just like a man and his girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
He was showing the video to his girlfriend and going, hey, do you remember that?
And she was like, what is going on?
It's you when you were a baby.
He's like, what are you talking about? And it was so good. I have it saved, but it's way too far back in my account. But here's one of a guy showing.
Dad, do you remember this?
Dad, do you remember?
What is it? It's you, when you were little.
Oh my god, I do remember that.
I turn it down because I also think this portion of our VOD might get muted.
It's you.
It's you when you were a baby.
Oh my god.
I do remember that. Here's okay. Are you ready to see my two favorite ones?
Yes.
Okay. Come on.
One kid's memory gonna be real.
That's real. That's the one kid who gets to have the memory.
Only one.
Only one. But my absolute favorite one. Look at this.
Incredible.
Look at that. Oh.
Okay, stop with the audio.
You stop with the audio.
No.
You stop.
The audio's coming through staticky.
Oh, well, you know. Pew, pew. That's our anti-DMCA ray.
Oh, yeah? After all the times you played it over and over again?
That's the no. It's coming through staticky. It's been coming through staticky the whole time because that's our anti-DMCA ray.
Ah.
I love this trend. I love how far people are taking it.
It's fantastic.
That dude was hooked to a crane or something.
Yeah. He was willing to get dough bricked over it.
He was gonna get Jeff Witticked right in the eye, and he was like, "I'm doing it."
Okay. I thought the static was an intentional part of the audio on the videos. I mean, no, I don't think so. But it's very funny. This one's a DIY inspired by you when you were a baby.
Do you remember? You were so cute. What were you doing? Why were you doing that?
Anyways, TikTok's fantastic. It's another great day on TikTok. This has been going on for like a week now or so.
I love it so much.
And it's been absolutely excellent. I can't wait to see what new ways we find to ruin the next generation of people.
Yeah, or counterpoint, make their lives a little more interesting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because growing up in this dystopian hellscape isn't interesting enough.
Do you remember the internet? You were on the internet a lot. Yeah, I remember that. Also, there was this one time you put on a green hat and you flew around in the garden. What?
I remember that.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just one moment of magic in a world of doom scrolling. Hey, good morning, BBs. This is a video game news. That's you when you were a baby. Do you remember? Do you also remember that time that you were maidenless in Elden Ring? Do you remember that? Do you remember how you were kind of like a dead guy and you would walk around with a sword, and sometimes when you were a baby you would ride around on a big deer? Do you remember that?
Do you remember that when you were a baby?
When you were a baby?
Hey, there's more! Elden Ring DLC!
Elden Ring DLC is out today. It's free. This is the PvP focused DLC that we knew was coming. All of those Colosseums are now open. And as somebody who doesn't like PvP in Souls games, I say,
no, thank you.
So what?
Good luck. Have a good time.
I say, I'll be in Bloodborne as I always am.
Here's the thing. If they're going to do Colosseums, you know what I want?
What?
I want stands. I want to sit and I want to watch.
That's what I want.
I don't want to be part of it.
No. That's
Please
what I
do
want.
not ask me to fight.
I want you to be able.
Let me watch you fight.
I want you to be able to draw a rune to summon me, not to help you, but to sit and eat popcorn. And watch it and go, do it. Good for you. What a big sword. Good work.
Hello, microphone.
Hello, microphone, when you were a baby. So yeah, the Elden Ring DLC is out today. Enjoy. It's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
And it's perfect timing too, because for the last month, I'd say Elden Ring has heavily dropped off.
Yeah,
in terms of
absolutely.
like everybody's done everything there is to do.
Yeah.
We've gone all the way up to basically the Donkey Konga drum run. You know what I mean? Like that's what part we are at. Or like
Right.
the fishing controller. I beat it with a fishing controller. Actually, we did do somebody who beat it with a fishing controller.
Of course.
Yeah, she beat
of
it.
course.
She did a fishing controller, and I want to say she did like a Rock Band controller.
They all do the Rock.
They
Band
all do the
Guitar
Rock.
Hero.
But we're at that point, which means it was time for new content.
Yeah.
And the new content is here, and it's very exciting. It's very exciting for people.
Are you jumping back in? Anybody? You know, we're not PvPing, but are you?
Yeah. Are you PvPing? Are you PvPing?
I was gonna ask if you regretted it once you said it, but then you said it a second time.
PvPing. PvPing is a new Pokemon. I'm tired today.
Anthony,
What?
I saw an excellent TikTok, which I'm unfortunately about to recount for you.
Oh, that's even better than telling me dreams. The only thing better than describing your dream to someone is describing a TikTok you saw, because the original TikTok is 20 seconds long, but the description of a TikTok can go on forever.
SZA, you know how SZA's spelled,
Yes.
just announced her new album,
Yes.
PSA.
Scissapizza?
SZA just announced her new album, Pissa,
Scissapizza.
and that's all.
There you go.
Her new album is actually called PSA, but by the logic you
SZA Pissa.
created, it's SZA and Pissa. 'Cause
Yeah. Scissapizza.
SZA.
Yeah.
PSA. Pissa.
There you go. We're all caught up. A lot of people are saying no PvP. No PvP. And I'm that way as well. We've talked about this. We're not, I mean, you were for a while for the game that is no longer the game.
I'm down for team-based.
Team-based against another team you like.
Yeah.
But like PvP, 1v1 PvP, not your thing.
Nah,
Nah.
particularly. I enjoy team-based. I enjoy the strategy of a team basis. I enjoy the like collaborative nature of that. It doesn't really feel like PvP for me.
Yeah.
But even in like one of my favorite games that I play all the time, Sea of Thieves, PvP is the worst part of the game.
You know what I'm going to do.
Just no bad
It's too
words.
much. It's too much. That's all. I just got to correct. We just got to correct a little bit.
You put it right back where it was.
No.
Yes, you did.
No, there's a little more space.
No, there isn't.
There's just a tiny bit more space.
isn't.
And I feel a little bit better about it.
Okay.
Yeah, Sea of Thieves, the worst part is when you run into another boat full of people and you're just like, hey, are we friendos? And they're
Absolute
like,
day ruiner.
nope, never friendos. Speaking of PvP,
Oh?
we've got some more news about this Microsoft Call of Duty stuff. Look,
Stop, I don't want any more.
I know, but like this. Here's the thing. They're really trying. Unky Phil is really trying to let everybody know that Call of Duty is gonna be everywhere. Nobody has to worry. They've committed to putting Call of Duty on
We're not worried.
for a decade on PlayStation, but also they just said that they're committing to bring Call of Duty for the next 10 years to Nintendo consoles.
Why? I know they've been doing this for a second here, but does anyone play Call of Duty on their Switch?
Now,
Do any of you, have any of you ever
what
played
Nintendo...
Call of Duty on your Nintendo Switch?
Now look, there are kids who, and I'm sure adults too, there are people who like, if maybe you are a parent who has kids and you bought a Switch and the Switch is the console and you're like, I do want to play Call of Duty with friends. I wish I could play it on the kids' console so I didn't have to buy a second machine. Maybe.
That's a very specific use case.
It's very specific. The other one would be kids whose friends play Call of Duty, but they're all playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
And that's already on the Switch.
and runs better.
Or Apex, like, so who was excited about this announcement?
Isn't it already on Switch? People were saying it's on Switch. I'm pretty sure there's already a Call of Duty on Switch.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. Who's like, I'm excited that Call of Duty is going to be on Nintendo consoles for the next 10 years. Somebody was like, Hardliner said, I prefer to play Tetris. Yeah. Tetris 99.
No, have they not released?
No.
I could have sworn they previously released one of them for Switch.
I don't think because the Switch can't run it right now. The Switch can't run any of the recent ones. It might have been maybe Warzone, the mobile one. The mobile one could come to Switch, but
They don't need this.
they don't need it. They don't need it. Nobody's excited about it. This is another one of those things where Microsoft over the next year, especially now that the FTC is basically saying we're going to put this deal through. Like it's looking like it's going to happen. They're going to acquire Activision. And what they're going to do over the next year, watch this. Watch everything Microsoft says. Everything they do is going to be, hey, look at us, we're the good guys. We are all about fair play and go team and the industry as a whole, and we would never ever use our collection of our amassing of other studios to corner the market on something. Which, like, then why would you buy other studios if you're not looking to corner a market? Like, come on. But so this is one of those announcements where it's like, Call of Duty is going to be on Nintendo. It hasn't even been on Nintendo in a while, but I'm telling you, once we buy Activision, it's going to happen. We're bringing it to more places because we are the best.
Okay. Phil, shut up. Hey, Phil, stop doing interviews.
Here's the thing. At this point, do you think Phil is the big bad, or is he the gregarious, like, assistant to the big bad that we don't know exists yet? You know what I mean?
Interesting.
He's either the principal from Buffy. You know what I mean?
Or the mayor.
Or the mayor from Buffy.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Shit, he's the principal. You think he's the big bad? No, that's a good point. No, the principal, I want to remind you, was a piece of shit. We're talking principal number 2, not the principal that got eaten by hyenas.
No. That principal was barely there.
That principal was barely there, and honest to God, doing his best.
No.
We're talking about Snyder.
Yeah, we're talking about Snyder, who just was the friendliest, sweetest, happiest guy. Publicly.
No, Snyder was an asshole.
Snyder was the asshole. The mayor was the friendly one. That's right.
The mayor was the friendly facing.
That's right.
Snyder was just an asshole. Was just a piece of shit.
See, he's giving more mayor vibes.
Oh, that's concerning.
And I mean, and obviously, Xbox is just part of Microsoft, so technically the big bad is Microsoft.
See, that's what I'm saying,
the thing.
Though,
It's
I
like,
think the bad is bigger than Phil.
It's bigger than Phil.
Yeah, he's the mayor, but Microsoft's the big worm.
Big worm. Yeah. Look, all we're saying right now is keep an eye on what Microsoft is saying and doing over the next couple of years. This was something that PlayStation did as well with the PS4. Remember, PlayStation was like, "Hey, we're not going to do any anti-competitive practices. You don't have to worry. We're gonna be giving indies like great deals. We're gonna be making sure that everybody's taken care of, like blah blah blah." And then like midway through the generation, they pulled the "we're in the lead" lever.
Yeah.
You got to be really careful about what happens when somebody's about to pull the "we're in the lead" lever. Look at this chonk. Look at that gigantic boy.
He headbutted the door open. He's not supposed to be in here.
Yeah, get out of here. This is a work site. No personal calls. Saige is not allowed to have personal calls. Get him out of here.
Oh no.
See, this is why.
Don't do it.
This is why.
Do it, Ghost.
This is why. Nope. See? Now you're a table. Now you're a table and we can't do a show. Now you're a table and we can't do a show. No, this is why you don't let him in, because he turns you into a table.
Hey, Ghost.
One time, he turned her into a lamp. And for the next 3 days.
He's laying down.
Oh, no, of course he is.
He's laying down.
You're a table now. You're a table, and there's nothing you can do now. It's going to be 3 days before we can do anything online again.
Circuit down. Get
Get him out of here.
Try. He's on my back, Anthony.
Get him out of here, yeah, because you're a table. No, I'm not going to touch him because if I touch him, he claws me.
You're not offering help.
Here's how I'm helping. Good luck.
Okay. I'm just going to do the show like this.
Yeah.
Down here.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What's the next story?
All right. There was a Dead Island showcase last night.
A whole showcase just for Dead Island.
Well, that's sort of the thing. Was it a showcase for Dead Island? Kind of. It was like 15 minutes of like a short film with live action actors, and like the actors were making jokes about how live action trailers, like games, never live up to them, and like it was very like meta, self-aware, and it sucked.
Okay.
It was like whatever. I sort of feel like Dead Island 2, the game didn't just rise from like 2011. The entire campaign and idea around it from around 2011.
Their marketing plan at all.
Yeah, they
recorded this then.
They just used the 2011. But at the end of it, there was a new trailer called Welcome to Hell A.
Yeah, no, that's very 2011.
It's very 2011.
Yeah, let's all watch the trailer.
Let's watch the
All
trailer
three
for
of us.
Dead Island. All of us. Every time I see the Deep Silver logo on a game, I'm flabbergasted. I'm just like, they're still around.
Anthony's fully laying down.
Yeah. There's
Actually can't get him down.
you're in Santa Monica, you've got a katana.
But you picked the wrong time to come to town. Bet you thought your world was in chaos.
There you go. There you go.
Shit doesn't get more real than this.
So, you know. So it's Dead Island.
Yeah, remember audio's coming through bad.
Oh yeah, sorry. We gotta figure out what that's about. There you go. Here's the thing. It genuinely just, it looks like, and I mean, this is what it is. It looks like a game from a few years back that was given like a next gen remake or re-release, which is basically what it is. It's basically, they've been working on this game for years. They're finally putting it out, and it has like a new render pass on it. But it does, I mean, it looks good, but here's my thing. Like, I can tell from this, you can tell what's a cutscene and what's gameplay. And the gameplay looks, I mean, there are 100 of these now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are 100 of these games. And I
don't like this trailer.
No, I mean, there's not much. It's one of those things where it's like a trailer that's also like a mini demo of gameplay, and nothing about the gameplay. Like, this is what they're showing off, and none of like. And I'm not trying to be too down on it. I hate when I sound too down on something, but it doesn't look bad. It just
It looks like they put exactly 5 zombies into Grand Theft Auto.
My thing is, what is setting this apart? You know, they're showing their big moments. And if I was Deep Silver and I was putting this game out, you know, at this point, it's basically like when Gearbox put out Duke Nukem Forever. They're doing it because they're doing it for the story. And they, you know, we finally got it out, and people who have been fans of it are going to buy it.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at this trailer and I'm thinking about it as Deep Silver. And to me, I'm thinking, what are the standout moments? What are the moments here that like make somebody look and go, I have to have this game? They've shown this electricity in the water thing twice, and that's from like Half-Life. You know what I mean? Like, the first Dead Island didn't have that, I don't think. I don't remember. But
I don't remember. I played the first Dead Island, and I don't even play zombie games.
I played a lot of the first Dead Island.
Same.
Everybody did. I mean, that's the thing. That's what they're banking on, right? But what they weren't banking on is that we all have the same almost lack of nostalgia for Dead Island.
Yeah.
Look, it's a good-looking zombie game in a world that's now full of really good-looking zombie games.
But right though, like, there's exactly 5 zombies in that world.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the Grand Theft Auto map.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's the thing is like you could mod Grand Theft Auto, or you could put a mod into almost anything now with a zombie mode, and it would be that game. And so for them, here's what I'm hoping. So this came out last night, which tells me Dead Island didn't make it into the VGAs. If we're seeing trailers for larger games this week, it's because they didn't make it into the VGAs showcase, or they didn't have the money to pay their way into one of the paid slots. Ooh. So,
it's like unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean,
I want that for them.
I want it for everybody.
Right.
Everybody who works hard on a game, I want them to get their place in the sun.
Yeah.
The sun is close to Jeff Keighley. Jeff Keighley is the sun. Games are the West. Games are the East, and Jeff Keighley is the sun.
Look directly at Jeff Keighley.
No, when you watch the VGAs, what you want to do is you want to poke a little hole in a manila folder and hold it up to your eye. That's the only way you can take in the glorious light of Jeff Keighley. But the things that we're seeing this week are going to be games that didn't get a slot or don't think they can compete for attention on the day of the VGAs.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that what they're going to do is they've got a 1-2 punch of later on this week. They're going to show us something more, because that was 3 minutes of a 20-minute showcase. But I don't know. I don't know if they have that. I think that's just kind of what Dead Island is.
This is the wrong link.
Okay.
We need that one.
So I hope there's more, but I don't think there is. Oh yeah, let me find a specific link for that. Speaking of the VGAs, lot of awards for the VGAs, but one of them that's very important is Player's Voice. Player's Voice is basically the Audience Choice Awards, right?
Yeah, important.
And right now, for the VGA, for the Player Awards, we've got Stray, we've got Elden Ring, we've got God of War, but then we've also got Genshin Impact and Sonic Frontiers. Do you want to subscribe to the Game Awards website?
No, thank you.
Has anybody ever clicked yes on one of those? And what happens if you do? Does anyone know?
Like in-browser push notifications. Because I used to have it on for my email.
Has anybody done that?
I've said yes to it for Gmail on an old computer.
Oh no! What was that like for you?
Well, I didn't do it on my current one. I'll tell you that. I don't have it anymore.
So sorry. Going back to this Player's Voice Award. A lot of these games are already up for a bunch of awards.
Like all of them. They're actually the only 5 games that are nominated for the Game Awards.
Yeah, once again, like there's some stuff that's not there that I wish was there, but the two that we want to pay close attention to are Genshin Impact and Sonic Frontiers.
Yeah?
These are the two where their communities have been in a bit of a tiff, a bit of a spat. These communities are very hardcore trying to get their games to win, and there are some issues around that. Genshin Impact, MiHoYo actually said if we win the Player's Voice Awards, we're going to give everybody Primo Gems. Primo Gems are you've got to buy the currency. So if they give everybody Primo Gems, so now everybody's like, vote in the Game Awards, vote for Genshin. Genshin has to win because now there's value at stake.
That should actually be illegal.
They should be eliminated immediately.
They should be removed for that.
They should actually be. I think what's going to happen is, to save face, the Game Awards is not going to do anything about it, but afterwards they're going to say, hey, we've put some new rules into place going forward.
That should be disqualifying. But yeah, of course, it's Genshin.
Yeah, it's Genshin.
Behind the scenes, I do not like these people. Every choice that they make, as somebody who could love this game, as someone who should love this game, they just keep making these stupid fucking choices that aren't like egregiously, hugely awful, just obnoxious enough that I'm like, no, fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
The whole thing, like spending their community week talking about getting Elon Musk to join Genshin. They've done like a bunch of dumb shit.
Naming characters in game off after Elon Musk.
The CEO's got a hard on for Elon Musk, just like every other CEO does. And unfortunately is like making it way too public, is way too thirsty on main for Elon Musk.
Which at the time was a problem, but now is an even bigger one.
Now it's a huge problem. Though I will say they've been better about the Musk stuff since the pushback. But
right, they've just been quieter.
that's what I'm saying is like, look. But anyway,
I think this is tacky.
It's
I guess
tacky.
is the best way I could describe it. It's very tacky to do that. Earlier in the chat, Blade of Creation was like, I don't really like this category. It's just a popularity contest. I think this category is important.
I think it's great, but the problem is this category should be for games that aren't nominated anywhere else or games that are under-nominated. So people who don't feel like their games are being represented, the stuff that they like is being represented by the Game Awards, can vote and get one of their favorite games in there.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are the nominations decided by fans? Are you able to like submit games for it?
I don't believe they are.
Because like you can't remove games if you're making it truly a player's choice.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, where it's like, hey, the most people wanted to vote for this. You can't remove the games that are already nominated. I do understand where that would come in, where it's like, well, but this is my player's choice, right? But it should be that the voters have an initial round of submitting games. Or like an indie developer can go in and say, hi, we've put our game up. If they get through this bracket, they'll make it to
So here's the thing. Player's Voice, I'm looking it up now. Player's Voice does have brackets.
Okay.
But the initial games in those brackets are obviously chosen by the Game Awards. Like the population of the brackets have to come from somewhere before there's an initial voting. But while Genshin Impact is being tacky, we also have to talk about the Sonic Frontiers fans. The Sonic fandom has not been good about this.
As the Sonic fandom isn't good about most things, but there is the separation here of Genshin, this being MiHoYo, the company behind it.
Yes.
Or Sonic fan.
No. That's 100% true. But the MiHoYo fans are also being toxic.
Sure. Yeah. But so is the company.
But the Sonic Frontiers fans are unfortunately being really bad. Friend of the show, y'all know Imran. Imran from Kind of Funny and from Fanbyte. Imran Khan had to make his Twitter private because he tweeted something about Genshin and Sonic Frontiers and how how these games, and it was mostly the communities fighting and it was not about the games themselves. Yeah. And he started getting horrible things sent to his inbox, photos of things somebody should never see. That's all the detail I'll go into there. Yeah. And also the Sonic fans are kind of brigading journalists and are screaming at people and are doing everything that the worst part of every fandom does. But I'll say this, the Sonic fandom is weird and bad for the most part.
It is.
The Sonic fandom is not great. Not great. It's the Sonic fandom's history is as spotty as Sonic's history in 3D. That is what I will say. And it's a bummer to watch these two communities like, you should not wrap your entire identity up in a video game that you paid $60 for. And if you're hurting other people online because of that, maybe you shouldn't have a voice in this awards thing. You know what I mean?
Only wrap it up in a video game that you paid $5 to $10
$5 to $10 for.
Calico?
Hey, listen, Vampire Survivors is $4.99.
You could wrap up your personality in Vampire Survivors. And in fact, let's get to some good news.
And in fact, I did for a few weeks.
And but you can do more.
Vampire Survivors is releasing their first DLC.
I'm very excited. I just started.
That's so good.
I just started
I knew
dabbling.
you were going to get into it.
I just started dabbling.
Do you remember when I first got it and I was like, Saige, play this, but never play this?
Yeah. I just started a little dabble. dabbling. All this week, I've been just like 5 minutes in a game here or there.
Yeah, that's the insidiousness
It was my
of
birthday week. So I was
Yeah.
just like, I could have 5 minutes in a little game here or there, and then 2 hours in Disney Dreamlight Valley.
That's the insidiousness of Vampire Survivors is it's 20-minute chunks. 20, 30-minute chunks. You go in, you have 30 minutes, that's what you do. You just dabble. But here's the problem. You do one 30-minute chunk and you unlock something, and then you're like, ooh, I could have another chunk.
I could have one more chunk.
I could have one more chunk.
As a treat.
Well, it's just like a chunky chocolate chip cookie. That's what Vampire Survivors is. The new DLC comes out on the 15th. It's $1.99.
It's called Legacy of the Moon Spell.
God. Here's the other thing. As a fan of Castlevania, Vampire Survivors is so fun on 18 different levels. Because like all the little characters and there are references to characters that are like part of Castlevania and like the little, it's so good. So yeah, it's coming on the 15th. It's called Legacy of the Moonspell. What do we know about it? What we know about it is that it's going to have different environments. It's going to have a new stage called Mount Moonspell.
Hell yeah.
Which has different environments within the moon. So it sounds like it's a multi-stage thing.
cool.
It's got snow-covered mountains and an infested yokai village, which means we're bringing in other supernatural legends from other parts of the world. 8 new characters with 4 of them already revealed. We've got Miang Moonspell, who's the last disciple of the Moonspell clan.
Awesome.
Menya Moonspell, Ciuto Moonspell, and Bobby Ona, who has returned from the dead to seek vengeance on demons and mortals.
Fuck yes.
13 new weapons. I mean, this is essentially like... This is another week of Vampire Survivors at least. $1.99, man.
Also, love an immortal with the vengeance to kill other immortals.
Yeah.
A favorite trope.
Get rid of everyone. That's what I love.
Once again, back to Buffy. Spike. Season 4 on.
Yep.
This is very exciting. I'm really pumped about this. I can't believe how affordable this indie game is. Please go get this game. Like, just go get the game.
Yeah, if you haven't played
You'll have a
Vampire
good
Survivors
time.
yet, you absolutely must. I'm shocked that it wasn't in player's voice. It must have been on the bracket somewhere. I wasn't paying enough attention. I hope it was.
Kodoroku earlier in the chat was like, I've played everything there is to do in Vampire Survivor, and I still play it every day.
Yeah. I've gotten to the point where it's like, I can get like 2 minutes into a stage and stand still and wipe out the rest of the stage. And it's like, sometimes I do it just to do it because it's satisfying to know that I got there.
Shadow Phoenix Crowd said it's on Game Pass for free. That's true. However, in this particular occasion, I am going to say, if you're looking for, do I want to get Game Pass or do I want to buy this indie game? Buy the indie game.
Buy the indie game. For $5, buy the indie game. We were talking about this. When a game's on Game Pass, Apple Arcade, PlayStation Plus, something like that, it's equivalent to, the pay is not as bad, but it's equivalent to an artist that's streaming on a Spotify or something.
Yeah. If you really like it, buy it.
Buy it. For a musician to make minimum wage on Spotify, they have to get 10 million streams a year. However, if you buy their $10 album, and a certain number of people do it, it's way more accessible, So if you see an indie game that you like that's a few bucks, do it.
For $4 right
$4.
Come on.
But then, if you want to use Xbox Live, Xbox Game Pass,
have Game Pass.
if you want to use it and play it for free, that's cool too. That's why you pay for Game Pass. If you want to use it as like, hey, I'm going to try this as a demo, and then if I like it, I'll buy it. That's a great way to look at Game Pass as well.
Absolutely.
But there's another game that you need to look into. A game that finally released on Steam yesterday. A game that has literally been around for 13 years and has just gotten to the final release. Dwarf Fortress is on Steam. Published by Kit Fox Games. Kit Fox, of course, most known for Boyfriend Dungeon.
Yeah.
But Dwarf Fortress is not just a simulation game, it is the simulation game. The simulation game for 13 years. There is nothing more in-depth than Dwarf Fortress.
I haven't actually played it.
Saige, Dwarf Fortress is so in-depth that you can tell if a plague is about to hit your society because the cats in the tavern are dead because they've been eating rats and the rats are sick. Dwarf Fortress.
That made me very sad.
Dwarf Fortress is so in-depth. And the problem is, there was not much of an interface or graphics or any kind of tutorial to Dwarf Fortress until just recently. This game was made essentially by two people who just put the game out and they were like, look, we don't have the money for graphics. We just want to put this thing out. And it's been an ASCII for years. There were ways to skin it so like it had graphics, but it was like a whole thing. You had to install, like, it was very much like for command line geeks and stuff. There is so much stuff going on in Dwarf Fortress. There are neighboring kingdoms. Water will erode things over time and change your caves and tunnels. You're going to build taverns. You're going to build businesses. You're going to build societies. You're going to be mining. You're going to be questing. It's so wild.
All right, I'm in. You know, I love a simulation game.
Yeah.
I love a simulation game.
This is hardcore sim.
I was at one point a big Civ nerd. I'm a big Ages of Empires fan.
This is it. Every system has depth. There is no feature that's in there that is a surface level feature. I honestly haven't played it in years, and I'm excited to go in on the Steam version and see all of the stuff that's new. It's deep, y'all. It's deep like a dwarven mind.
I'm very curious if it's going to be overwhelming and how many systems there are.
It can be.
I'm curious if that's going to be fun for me, or if that's going to be something where I'm like, it's too many things. I actually am overwhelmed and don't want to do this.
It can be a lot.
There's no multiplayer, right?
No. But it can be a lot, but the new one has things that modern society could only dream of, Saige.
Yes, Anthony.
It has a tutorial.
Wow.
And it has menus that you can navigate with a mouse.
Wow.
You don't even have to type things in on a console. Can you believe it?
I can't.
It's so accessible now. This is great video here. I'll show you some of the. This is how Dwarf Fortress looked. Here's some of the optimizations you can make, and there's Dwarf Fortress. There's your world. Look at how fast years go by. It's doing all kinds of like calculations of years of history and building your kingdom in front of you. And then you can see all of your citizens. That's every single dwarf that lives in your town. It's wild. It's wild.
What's very funny is that, like, yes, now we've come into the modern age.
Yes.
It looks like this.
Look at how modern. That's over 4 frames a second of animation. You kids don't know how easy you have it with your Dwarf Fortress. When I played Dwarf Fortress, it looked like a 1980s movie about hacking.
It looks like Age of Empires 2.
It's so good. It's so good. I can't wait to dig into the Steam version of Dwarf Fortress. And you know what else, Saige?
What?
I can't wait to play Dwarf Fortress on my Steam Deck. Handheld Dwarf Fortress.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
What?
That's going to be good.
Yeah.
That's the right game to have on a Steam Deck.
That and Vampire Survivors, and you're good.
Yeah.
You are good. Anyway, happy Dwarf Fortress Day. Happy late Dwarf Fortress Day to all who celebrate.
All right, should we talk about some movies or some business?
Well, let's talk a little bit about business since we're still in games here, and our business news is games news. The first is, whoops, surprise, giant companies are always trying to underpay people. Fortnite is huge and requires an army of people to create. You think you can just put a chain gun in Ryu's hands? You think Superman just comes with a rocket launcher? Somebody has to do that. And in order to support this game, tons and tons of assets are needed. The art for things that you don't even think about.
Yeah.
Everything from loading screens to menu backgrounds to promotional stuff. And they don't always use in-house artists to do that. They have an art team, but a lot of times they contract artists to do these individual pieces of artwork.
And here's somebody that they tried to contract to do said artwork. This artist who is at J. Debbie Lee, J. Debbie L, said, I think it's hilarious that Fortnite, which earned $6 billion in revenue in 2021, asked me to do an entire illustration with all copyright for $3,000.
So if you're wondering what that means and why that's low, all copyright basically means they do a finished piece of art for Epic. Epic owns that art in perpetuity for all uses. They cannot, the artist cannot sell it at their booth at conventions. They can't make prints of it. They can't give it out as a high-res image to people on their Patreon.
But Epic can.
Epic can do whatever they want with it.
Fortnite would be able to just sell a poster of it and give the artist no royalties.
Right. So that's the thing, is this cuts it gets you on every level, because you can't sell it.
Yeah.
And make money off of it. They will sell it and make money off of it. They will probably show it to 60 bazillion people, and they may not even put your name on it and credit you. And
they won't. They definitively won't.
They definitively won't. For $3,000, the amount of time that it takes with revisions, because the client will have revisions.
Yeah.
If this artist was to take that job, they would not be able to pay their rent.
Now, it's very normal for a company to buy something out with a copyright when you're buying something for a game. It would be abnormal to be like, yes, every individual person is getting royalties off of every individual asset that we use to the game or we sell. But that fee then just comes in significantly higher because it's a flat fee.
Right.
So
that's the thing, is they either need to allow you to make your own prints, sell your own stuff, or, which a lot of companies do, they'll look the other way while you do it, or they need to pay you enough up front to where you can push all of your other work aside because they need this and they need to take up all of your time with it. Remember that, like, art, like anything else, takes time, and art is also a physical skill. You only have so many good hours a day that you can draw. So if they're putting all their time into this Fortnite thing, they can't take any other gigs.
they attached their response. They didn't attach the email from Fortnite or Epic Games. I would assume because they don't want to get sued. Playing it safe there. But their response, hi, thanks for responding so quickly. Okay, so with the budget given, it doesn't feel ethical to take this project. The time that it would take for a work from home assignment from such a high earning game where I can't even sell prints would barely leave me with a living wage. That being said, taking this assignment doesn't sit well with me, and I hope the legal team will reconsider the contract and or budget for the well-being of their freelance artists. Thank you so much for
Good for them.
me.
Good for them.
But that's not a lot of money.
No. And the unfortunate thing is they send that. Fortnite goes, okay, cool. Take them off our list. We're never contacting them again. And they just reach out to another 1,000 artists.
Which, like, no one is surprised by.
No.
Fortnite is notorious for this and has been since the beginning. Fortnite is based off of stolen property.
Right. But the problem is that like so many companies are underpaying artists right now that they are like, if you say no, even with an ethical concern, you bring up an ethical concern like that, Fortnite is so huge and Epic is so huge, they don't even need to look at your response or think about it for 5 seconds.
Nope.
Because there are people scrambling for work right now. And they know that. And it's unfortunate. And that's why labor unions and the breakup of corporations, which we rant about very often on this show. Speaking of
corporate consolidation.
Speaking of which, here's some good news.
Yeah.
Very good news.
Very good.
300 QA devs have unionized over at ZeniMax Studios. ZeniMax is, of course, up above Bethesda, which, of course, is owned by Microsoft. Huge deal.
Huge deal. This is fantastic. There's been a lot of good union news this week. There's been quite a few things from like different spaces outside of ours as well. I'm just like, it's been a good week for unionizing.
It's starting to turn into a PR nightmare for companies, which is good. It should be a PR nightmare. So whereas the beginning of this year and the end of last year were about union busting, and there's still a lot about union busting. Don't get me wrong, but we are seeing a lot more positive outcomes in unionizing because people are aware of it now. People are talking about labor unions, and not just people within those industries. The average person is talking more and more about labor unions now, which is huge.
And there is confidence in numbers. When you're the only person pushing for something, A, you're much more likely to lose your job, and B, it's much less likely to happen. It's terrifying. You don't want to be the only person pushing for this. But as it becomes a much more common conversation in the industry, it is a safer thing for individual employees to do. It's collective bargaining at that point, which is the point of unions.
Yep.
It's the same thing that I say all the time when it's like, hey, if you want to ask for a raise, talk about the conditions in your workplace, have any of those conversations about like what is fair treatment of you, take another employee in with you that has the same concerns. That at that point, you are in a position that is like from a legal standpoint considered collective bargaining.
Right.
And they cannot simply tell you no and kick you out of their office, and they can't fire you for it.
No.
Because once you've began collective bargaining, you're in a different position legally.
Yeah.
Take someone with you.
So, and a lot of this stuff is the reversing of the erosion of workers' rights and workers' protections that have been happening over the last 50, 60 years. Things like when people hire you, they go, now don't talk about how much money you make to anybody.
Tell everyone how much you make.
Everybody should be talking about how much they make. That's just basic level shit.
Yeah.
That's just basic level shit. That's not even union shit. But that's where we've gotten to the point where corporations have so much power and the company has so much power that they can sit you down and be like, hey, we heard you're talking about how much money you make.
Why, yes, I am. And it is my legal right to do so. And you cannot punish me for it.
Yeah. This is 300 quality assurance staff members at ZeniMax. Of course, they are working on all kinds of stuff. They're working on everything Bethesda and ZeniMax are working on right now. Starfield, Elder Scrolls, all that stuff. They're going to unionize with the Communication Workers of America, which have been taking on a lot of gaming unionization because, frankly, no one else will, and it's appalling. But the CWA said that we applaud Microsoft for remaining neutral through this process and letting workers decide for themselves whether they want a union. The company is fulfilling the commitments they laid out in their labor principles earlier this year while sending a resounding message to the video game industry. The right to freely and fairly make a choice about union representation should be in the hands of the workers, not management. So this is great. The CWA also organized the QA workers at Raven Software and Blizzard Albany, all of those places that we heard about earlier this year that had to walk out to get recognized and had basically union busting happening to them every day because of Activision Blizzard. And this is another thing where, look, I'm not sure that Microsoft's motivations here are entirely wonderful, but what they are looking to do is show that if they buy Activision Blizzard, they will be better to the employees. They will be better for the industry. That is what Microsoft is trying to put forward right now.
Which shouldn't be hard to do when the bar for these people was set at Activision Blizzard.
Right. And so regardless of what their motivations are, and unfortunately, I think their motivations are to get one of the largest mergers in the industry to go through as they continue to consolidate. At least for right now, this is good for workers' rights. And the hope is, and look, the CWA knows that. Everybody who works in the industry knows that. And what they're hoping is that by the time Microsoft consolidates as much as they want to consolidate and they flip that "we're number one" switch, which lets them be a little more anti-competitive and bad, they're hoping that they can put enough systems in place, things like unions, things like worker protections, stuff like that, that by the time Microsoft does flip that switch, it won't matter for the workers.
They'll be up in the front holding onto their red shell like, come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Use it, I dare you. I dare you.
Well, that's very good news.
Yeah.
We love that.
It's also good that
we love unions.
Yeah, and it's also good that this is happening a lot for QA workers who are some of the most overworked and underpaid workers and mistreated workers in the industry. One of the unions was, of course, for contract QA workers, which is huge.
Yeah.
Not a lot of QA positions are full-time employee positions, so having protections for contract workers in QA is huge.
Big deal. Let's talk about a little bit of movies.
Sure.
Let's get the big one out of the way.
Sure.
Let's get the big unfortunate one out of the way. We've spoken quite a bit about the Flash film. Unfortunately, we're not talking about our good boy Flash, CW Flash. Unfortunately, we're talking about Ezra Miller's Flash.
Right.
Ezra Miller, of course, you know, a wanted felon, who was able to come back, do reshoots. Did WB harbor a criminal? Who could say?
Who could say?
Clearly not the law.
The law has no way of knowing whether Warner Brothers was harboring a fugitive, knew where Ezra Miller was the entire time that they were evading police for numerous pretty heinous allegations and potential crimes. So it's been weird. We've been saying the whole time,
Cancel the movie.
Cancel the movie.
Cancel the movie.
Recast the movie. Cancel the movie.
Cancel.
Reshoot the movie without Ezra Miller. Whatever you have to do. Because I'm a Flash fan, but I'm not such a Flash fan that I want the industry to be harboring criminals.
No, I don't want an Ezra Miller Flash movie. I am also a Flash fan. But also, Grant Gustin is right there. He's right there. With his winning personality and his long, graceful neck. Just put Grant Gustin in the movie. It's a multiverse movie. And even if it wasn't, just recast. But they're not doing that. In fact, you could tell they were doubling down by the reshoots. Even though they were like, hey, fuck Batwoman. We don't give a shit about that. Cancel
the Flash, right? Here's what they should have done. Cancel the Flash. Listen, is the Flash a, $200 million movie, whatever? Fine. That's a bummer. Cancel the Flash. Take the write down on the Flash. Take the $90 million Batgirl movie, which according to the directors had a couple more weeks of reshoots and had not gone into VFX or post yet. Like there was like a rough edit. You could have added to their budget, brought up the special effects level so it would be a summer blockbuster movie, put out Batgirl in the theaters instead of streaming, and just shelve the Flash and start it over from scratch.
Could have been so easy, but instead, they're releasing the movie a week earlier. It's been moved up. They said it's getting there fast because it's the Flash. The movie will release on June 16th. Don't see it.
Just, why is I woke up and the Flash was trending and I was like,
did they cancel it?
They canceled it. They finally canceled the Flash. And they said, no, we're doing it harder. What?
It's gotta be early because the Flash is fast.
What?
This fucking sucks.
It sucks.
This sucks. And here's the other thing I'm gonna say. Not only are they a criminal, they're a bad Flash.
Yeah.
They're a bad Barry Allen.
Yeah. Does a lot of that have to do with script? Yeah. Does a lot of that have to do with their take? Yeah.
Also, yes. Both true.
Yeah.
Both very true.
So it's it's a bummer, but you know, DC's got other stuff going on, so I'm sure everything's cool. There's probably nothing.
Well, Anthony, did you see Black Adam?
No.
Oh.
No, I did not.
Wait, did...
I, like most people, saw the Black Adam trailer and said, hello, HBO Max.
Wait,
I'm waiting for you.
saw Black Adam, right?
Who saw Black Adam?
Everyone saw Black Adam, right?
I know. Here's the thing. I know a lot of people that saw Black Adam.
Do you?
Yeah.
I know one.
I know a good amount of people. Now, here's the thing.
I know literally one person.
So here's what I'll say. I don't know many people outside of industry / criticism / you know, this sort of stuff.
In my personal life,
Yeah.
I know one.
Yeah, I don't really know. If I was to remove all those people.
Like if you were just thinking about people that you like know IRL and see.
Yeah, did families go to Black Adam? No.
No. Did any of your friends?
No.
No.
And it turns out we are not alone in that. It turns out that Black Adam is looking at a potential $100 million loss after budget, marketing, etc.
Do you remember when The Rock was the perfect good boy in everybody's eyes? Do you remember that?
Yeah. He did the dance with his grandma.
Like the kind of guys, and don't ever fucking say this about a man, the kind of guys that people go, oh, God, if I found out he sucked, man, he would really be the one that would break my heart. He's not bad, right? Not The Rock.
Right. We call that getting Mulaney'd.
Don't.
We call that getting Mulaney'd.
Don't put people in the special good boy box. You'll only be disappointed. It's men.
Now, yeah. So The Rock
isn't like a monster. He's just no longer in the good boy box. And he's a big fan of Joe Rogan.
And The Rock sort of had. The Rock has not been having the best run. Mm-hmm. He's still. Honestly, people still love The Rock. He's very charming. I think he's very charismatic on screen. He has not had the best run of his last few films. They have not done the greatest. Black Adam was a very big deal for him and his team and his production company. I know personally, it was also a big deal for DC. Mm-hmm. As DC was in that transitional phase that we are not using Zack Snyder anymore, but we don't know who is next. They had not yet signed on James Gunn, so they didn't know who their creative guy was. And Black Adam was sort of like a transitional movie that was supposed to pull DC out of this sort of perceived slump, particularly critical slump that they've been in. And unfortunately, it just didn't draw people in.
I heard it was not very good.
I heard it was fine. That's what I basically heard is it was fine. I heard from a lot of people that it felt like a very phase 1 or phase 2 Marvel movie. Like, here's Guy, explain Guy.
Yeah.
Guy is introduced to World. World is not ready for Guy.
Right.
You know, like that sort of thing. Which is fine. But, you know, it's something that if you're going to be a superhero movie these days, you know, it's kind of like when we're talking about Dead Island. Mm-hmm. Half the movies are superhero movies now.
Yeah.
So what are you going to bring that makes people go, well, this is the one I have to see? And apparently it just didn't have that. One of my things that's really interesting about it is like, whenever they talk about it, and particularly whenever The Rock talks about it, he talks about Black Adam versus Superman, which is cool. And I'd love to see it, but he really doesn't talk about Shazam. Whenever they talk about Captain Marvel, they're like, oh yeah, maybe they'll meet one day. And it's like, no, that's not how Captain Marvel and Black Adam work.
Right.
I understand you want your franchise and you don't want, you know, and Zachary Levi has his franchise. And listen, traditionally The Rock has not had the greatest history sharing franchises with people. Cargo Vroom, people get mad behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? But it's so weird to me that, like, why are they not building up to Black Adam fighting Shazam? It's so in my mind, if you were putting together a phase of DC movies and you've just introduced Captain Marvel and Black Adam, and you're about to go to Shazam 2. What are you working up to in your face?
Right.
But
Fighting Superman.
fighting Superman. And
No, fighting Superman.
And
Nothing set up for this, but fighting Superman.
do you think, and this is so weird, and I have nothing to base this on. Do you think it's just that like The Rock sees the character of Shazam, this like goofy child, as like a bad character for his character to lose to?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I do.
Like he wants, like The Rock is like, I'm the fucking Rock. My character fights the strongest character, and that's the only character he loses to.
Only be Superman.
But like Captain
It's
Marvel,
in contract, he can only lose to Superman.
Captain Marvel is like
And they have to have the same amount of punches.
strong, like strength level, like punch for punch. Captain Marvel and Superman are same power level. Basically. I don't know. It's weird.
It's weird.
But
I'm not surprised it lost money. A lot of people aren't going to theaters right now. I myself haven't been to a theater in months.
Yeah.
We're in another little COVID uptick that's frightening me. That I'm like, ooh, I would only go to a daytime, and I'm busy during the days.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, here's what we can say. For whatever reason, it's bringing Henry Cavill back. And giving Henry Cavill another shot as Superman, who I think Henry Cavill was underserved by the scripts and stories of the Superman films. He is Superman personified.
Campbell said, is punch count actually a thing? That's wild. That's in Vin Diesel's contract for the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, I don't know if it was. So the rumor is that they both had it in their contracts that they can't lose to one another, and they have to be able to throw as many, they have to get in any fight scene, they have to get as many punches in as the other guy or look as cool as the other guy. I've heard rumors that there's even like, there are people on set that watch, like they bring people on set. Now, I don't know if that's The Rock. I don't know if that's Dwayne Johnson doing it on his own in every movie, or if that's just in response to the people on Fast and Furious. But I know Hobbs and Shaw had that too. He and Statham had that.
Right.
I just imagine like, in a city where like, there are the people with like the clickers that are watching like heavy crosswalks.
Yeah.
I picture the people with the little clickers.
For punches?
Yeah. And at the end they compare and they go, well, it looks like Dwayne got 37. How many did you?
Right, when they're like clicking at the front of a theme park.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why every fight that Vin Diesel is in Fast and Furious, he doesn't actually like lose.
Never.
It's like a standstill fight. It's so weird. Anyway, so it lost $100 million. That's
a lot of dollars.
That's a lot of dollars. When Variety reached out to Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers said that it's on track for a break even. So Warner Brothers is not, trying to say like, oh, it's going to make $1 bazillion. You just don't know. They're saying like, no, it didn't lose money. It's going for a break even. But that's PR. Who knows? Because they don't actually release stuff like that until financial calls.
Yeah,
we'll know in like March. But DC's in a transitional place. There's some good stuff about DC. Particularly the Harley Quinn animated series and
Birds of
Prey and Peacemaker.
Yeah, it's Harley Quinn,
Peacemaker.
Yeah.
There was a thing, by the way. It's not really a story, but I did notice it. I'm sure you noticed it too. Margot Robbie said that she's been trying to get the Harley Quinn Poison Ivy romance for years.
And they asked her as well, like, do you have anybody in mind? Who would you want to play Poison Ivy, if you can say? And she said the very, very smart PR move. And she was like, I don't have somebody in mind. Really, I picture the comic book and cartoon Ivy.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's clever, that's good.
Yeah, I picture
you can't name an actor.
I picture the comic book and cartoon Ivy, and if the opportunity arises, I'm just like, we'll find the right. And then she had to, after that interview, go call whoever she's been pitching to be Poison Ivy, and be like, listen, I had to say this in the magazines.
Don't worry about it.
You're still my choice. Who do you think it is? Could be anybody.
Yeah.
Could be anybody. So it's so funny because I can't picture anybody now. I just picture Lake Bell's voice.
Yeah.
I can't picture any voice except for Lake Bell's now, which is odd because
Who would be a good poison?
in
ivy?
person, Lake Bell, I don't know. But man, Janelle Monáe, that's a good pull.
It is a fun idea.
That's a good pull. Tatiana Maslany, that's fun. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot it could be.
Interesting.
But listen, all this movie news, Saige, this is peanuts.
Yeah.
This is nothing. This is baby news for babies. $100 million. Get fucked. $200 million. The reshoots. $1 billion. It doesn't matter because the one true film is coming and it's going to make $17.3 trillion at least. And that movie, Saige, is TOEJAM and EARL. TOEJAM and EARL.
No way.
Panic on Funkatron, baby.
No way. Do you
Panic on Funkatron.
Do you think it happens?
This is going to save the cinema. Are you kidding me?
Well, it's from Amazon, so it's probably
It's going to save the cinema.
Prime.
No, but they're going to put it out. They're going to put it out in theaters for awards show season.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course. This thing's going to sweep, baby. This thing's going to sweep, baby. Listen, TOEJAM and EARL is so fun and such a good game. And there have been a million times over the years when there's almost been a TOEJAM and EARL animated series, a TOEJAM and EARL TV show, even another TOEJAM and EARL movie in the 90s. It's never happened, but now it's happening. People are asking, why is there a picture of Steph Curry? Why Steph Curry there? Steph Curry owns a production company that has been doing stuff and is actually doing stuff that isn't Steph Curry related. He's putting his money into media and entertainment. They did, of course, make they're making Underrated, which is a documentary with A24 about Steph Curry and his draft. But they also are doing things like weird stuff. They're working on like 12 Days of Christmas with Amazon, and just like Steph Curry's just
Sure.
running a production company.
Yeah. Get it.
This is going to be the greatest film of all time.
Yeah.
Saige, I dare say that it's going to be Jammin'. If you're not familiar with TOEJAM and EARL, it is an incredibly weird game for the Genesis, where you are aliens that are lost on Earth. You've come to Earth because your culture knows Earth music, and you go to Earth to see what it's all about, and you find out that Earth is weird. So it's Earth from the perspective of aliens, and it's so much fun. That's Earth from the alien perspective. It's half adventure game, half open world. It's strange as hell.
The bottom corner says TOEJAM is a wiener.
Yeah, that's your rating right now. As you get cooler, it'll tell you that you're not a wiener anymore.
Earl is on vacation.
Yeah.
Up to okay.
So, there was nearly an animated series for the last couple years they've been trying to get off the ground. And one of the people that was trying to get it off the ground was talking to Greg Johnson, who is the creator of TOEJAM and EARL. And he was like, listen, it's not happening, but wait until 6 months after the Sonic movie hits. People are going to be searching for the Sega catalog, and this thing's going to go.
Yeah.
And it went. It went all the way to film.
It seems to be going. Here's a clearer. Seems like maybe it's like a upscale of it.
Yeah, so you run across different like humans doing different human things and interact with them. You got to give them presents. They give you presents. You're trying to find sacred records to bring back to Funkatron with you. And they say that the film is going to be written by Mark Vorzanger and the film is going to be written by Amos Vernon and Nunzio Rendazzo, who wrote Hotel Transylvania 4 and are writing the Super Fudge series for Disney Plus.
Sure.
Sure.
Why
Why not?
Whatever, man.
The synopsis for the project says, Earth, their legends tell them, is the paradise where the music that created their culture originated. Unfortunately for our heroes, not only do they wreck their ship, but they find Earth is not the haven they expected, but the music, that part was true. So begins their quest to find as much of that music as they can in hope of saving their planet and maybe ours as well.
Wow.
I'm ready for a feel-good alien Sega Genesis Amazon original film.
If they had done this in the 90s, it would have been Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff.
I mean, yes.
It would have been.
Yes.
You know it would have been.
Absolutely.
100%. Somebody in the chat earlier was saying that someone in Kind of Funny's chat had suggested Keenan and Kel.
Keenan and Kel for TOEJAM and EARL? Keenan and Kel. That's perfect.
That's good.
That's
good.
like so perfect.
That's very good.
Yeah, I can't believe this is happening. They're really mining those video games, man.
Sure. Yeah, go through the catalog. Let's get all the weirdest shit you got. I'm in.
Give me the weird shit. Hoskins and Leguizamo back again, doing the only video game movies that matter. You know what I mean? I heard they're doing a recreation of Bob Hoskins' Mario voice with computers, and he's going to be Earl. And John Leguizamo is going to be TOEJAM, and he's going to be digitally de-aged and then turned into an alien.
Whoa.
Yeah.
The technology.
This movie is going to slap.
Sure, why not? I'm in.
I'm genuinely excited for it.
Yeah, I'm fucking in.
I hope it's just weird and feel good. Greg Johnson, I've met him a few times. He's a lovely guy. The guy that created TOEJAM and EARL, and he just has this like he has really positive vibes in the way that like a Rodney Greenblatt, the guy who created Parappa, has. You know, where it's just like I picture this movie being like the most silly, positive thing you've ever seen in your life, and I hope that's what it turns into.
I hope so too. And that is all of the news that we have time for today. Thank you for joining us. Of course, we do the show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at exactly 8 a.m. Pacific, except for this past Monday, because I was still asleep from my birthday.